Great. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, again. My name is Juliana Robbins, and I'm a library programs consultant at the California State Library. We're really thrilled that you've joined us today. I also wanted to mention a couple of my coworkers who are on the webinar today, Gabriella Dixon, who is in charge of outreach and engagement, Angie in the background, who is running the show, and now I am going to pass it over to Lisa to introduce ourselves and then over to our panelists. Lisa.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Lisa Lindsay. I am a library programs consultant with the State Library. My position includes work with tribal libraries and rural libraries. So happy that everybody is here. And just a reminder that you can post questions in the chat throughout the presentation, and we will do a moderated Q&A at the end so that folks talking won't see what you're typing, but we will definitely have time for questions at the end. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Cecilia.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to our presentation on strengthening communities with libraries, innovative strategies for emergency preparedness. Today, we will share insights and strategies to help your libraries become pivotal players in emergency preparedness efforts. You'll leave with practical tools and ideas to better engage your communities in these critical initiatives. Next slide. Okay, so meet the presenters. My name is Cecilia Salgado, and I'm the Adult Services Manager at the San Diego County Library within the Learning, Marketing, and Engagement Division. With over 12 years of experience as both a youth and adult librarian, I've had the privilege of developing and overseeing programs and services that meet the diverse needs of our communities. Second, we have Teresa Greenhall, who is the Community Emergency Response Team CERT Coordinator for San Diego County Fire. Since June 2019, her leadership has engaged over 13,000 residents in emergency preparedness, ensuring that our communities are both resilient and prepared. Third, we have Kristen McVeigh, who manages the Borrego Springs branch of San Diego County Library. As a leader in rural community, Kristen has firsthand experience navigating the unique challenges rural residents face in preparing for emergencies. Fourth, we have Nick Tomlinson, who is the Senior Emergency Services Coordinator with the County Office of Emergency Services. With extensive knowledge of emergency services coordination, Nick understands how libraries can be key players in community preparedness. Together, we'll explore how libraries can serve as essential community resilient hubs. Next slide. Okay, so we have a great session ahead. Here's what we'll cover today. The first one is identifying the need. We'll start by looking at the gaps in emergency preparedness within our communities and how libraries can help. Second, libraries as resilient hubs. Next, we'll explore how libraries can serve as centers for information and support during emergencies. Third, collaborative strategies and partnerships. We'll discuss how libraries can work with local emergency responders and community organizations to strengthen preparedness. Number 4, practical implementation examples. We'll share real-world examples of libraries successfully implementing preparedness programs. Next is measuring outcomes and community impact. We'll cover how to track the success of your programs and measure their impact on the community. Know your audience. Understanding your community needs is key. We'll discuss ways to reach all residents, including underserved populations. 7 is activities and get involved. Finally, we'll give you an idea on how to take action and engage your community in preparedness efforts. By the end of this presentation, you'll have the tools and strategies to help your library become a hub of community resilience. Next slide. To set the stage for today's discussion, let's briefly look at the County of San Diego and the services provided by San Diego County Library. The county spans over 4,000 square miles and serves 3.3 million residents, including 132,000 in rural areas. It consists of 18 cities, 64 unincorporated communities, and 18 tribal nations. This makes it highly diverse. At San Diego County Library, we operate 33 branches, 11 in rural areas, and offer 24/7 access through 5 library kiosks, including 2 in rural communities. We're also expanding our mobile services with electric transit vans to reach remote areas. Given the size and diversity of the county, we focus on meeting the needs of all residents, ensuring that they have access to emergency preparedness resources, no matter where they live. Okay, so now let me hand it over to Teresa, who will be sharing insights into the risk of communities face and how we can engage everyone in preparedness efforts. Next slide.
Thank you, Cecilia. San Diego County Fire Community Emergency Response Team covers 1.73 million acres of unincorporated land within the brown shaded areas of this map. When we take a look at this map, it tells a lot about the size of the county and the number of residents living in the unincorporated areas. However, it does not tell us that the unincorporated areas of the county still have dial-up internet and are listed as broadband internet gap areas. Nor does this map factor in our demographics. Yes, there are other maps that go into much more detail. However, to get our program started, we just needed to know the basics, which was our service area. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we're going to talk about heightened risks faced by our community. San Diego County is in a very high wildfire risk area and has 4 microclimates, which can be both inviting and challenging. The heightened risks are just as varied from flooding to wildfires, Santa Ana winds to earthquakes, tsunamis, landslides, extreme heat, and snow. 3 of the microclimates are within the jurisdiction of San Diego County Fire and our CERT program. Our communities experience all the hazards I mentioned, except tsunamis, which of course are along the coastline. So we'll talk about the importance of emergency preparedness. The education is about empowering residents to prepare for disasters, especially our underserved populations. Our goal is to help all our residents develop their own personal disaster plans, learn the risk for their communities, and gain access to preparedness resources, all with the intention of them becoming disaster confident and resilient. We believe it is extremely important that all populations, especially underserved communities, be prepared for emergencies and disasters. Are there a lot of immigrants or new Californians living in your community? They may not know what to do before, during, or after a local disaster strikes, as they may not have experienced that type of disaster before. Could that be considered a heightened risk in your community? It certainly is for the new residents. Let's consider a few reasons why our underserved populations might be more difficult to reach. One reason is that us seniors, older adults, did not grow up learning emergency preparedness, but rather simple response. An example of that is our school practice when we were growing up. Get under the desk for an earthquake. Who knew that disasters would only happen when we were at school and our school desk would protect us from everything? There are several other factors to consider when trying to reach residents. Do you have patrons who may not be residents, have limited English proficiency, or face other barriers to preparedness? FEMA's 2023 National Household Survey highlights that many individuals may not believe that taking steps to prepare will make a difference. While the disaster may still occur, preparedness can help minimize its impact. With the large area San Diego County Fire serves, we clearly cannot reach everyone without our partners. Partner agencies such as our libraries and County Office of Emergency Services, community leaders, residents, and data collection are vital for us to learn how to reach our residents at their level of preparedness and in their communities. Now let me hand it over to Kristen, who will be sharing more key information about the role of libraries.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everybody, for being here. In 2011, FEMA recognized libraries as essential community organizations for disaster service response. acknowledging our unique role in serving communities during crises. For example, after the 2024 flood in San Diego, our Spring Valley Library became a local assistance center, helping over 1,400 households with temporary lodging, recovery information, and resources from the county and state agencies. Libraries dedicate their space during these events to support recovery efforts. Libraries play a vital role in 3 key phases of emergency response. Pre-emergency. We provide emergency preparedness guides, workshops, and connections to local response organizations. During an emergency, libraries act, for example, where I am, as cool zones during heat waves. Post-emergency. In San Diego County, a few libraries are equipped with backup generators to remain operational during power outages. We serve as local assistance centers during recovery efforts, offering shelter and power during public safety shutoffs. We will help with disaster recovery by offering services like document replacement, housing support, and connections to nonprofits. Libraries are not just places for books. We are information and resilient hubs, ready to serve our communities before, during, and after emergencies. Next slide, please. Library classes in emergency preparation often involve multiple partners and blend emergency preparedness with other important safety topics. One great example is the 4 phases of a disaster, the residence role presentation, which is a huge success thanks to the collaboration of 5 different agencies. County Animal Services and the Red Cross cover disaster preparedness. County Fire discusses home hardening and defensible space requirements. And the Sheriff's Department provides insights into evacuations and the Genesis Protect system. The County Office of Emergency Services closes the session by teaching attendees about local assistance centers and disaster recovery process. In this image on the slide are examples of our system-wide programs in San Diego County involving multiple partners, including a preschool story time at the Julian Library, a fentanyl awareness presentation and Narcan training at Borrego Springs Library, my branch, and Listos Alertar y Preparar training, which was delivered in Spanish at the Potrero Library. These collaborations help provide vital resources to our community, making libraries key players in safety education and emergency preparedness. Next slide. At the Borrego Springs Library, where I am the branch manager, we work closely with San Diego County Fire CERT teams and emergency responders. So if a disaster does strike here, the community can withstand the possibility of multiple days without major services. In our location in the East County desert, the local hazards are mainly flooding and earthquakes. So we make sure to include trainings that would assist the community in these specific areas if such a disaster occurs. Offering emergency preparedness trainings is an extension of the types of services the library is already providing as resilience hubs and safe spaces. Some examples of the programs that my branch has hosted in partnership with San Diego County Fire CERT to bolster emergency response and education include a home safety fire plan educational outreach to all local middle schoolers in our community, which involved diagramming an emergency exit path of their home. At the awards assembly, all middle school students were provided with starter go bags and interacted with emergency responders and partners to learn basic CPR, fire extinguisher best practices, and more. We've also offered bilingual Spanish CPR AED certificate trainings, which have been popular, especially with our local teachers and health clinic workers, as well as our older adults. This month, we are partnering to offer earthquake preparedness and stop the bleed training to help bystanders recognize and respond to life-threatening emergencies. Always on the information table in our front lobby, we include information about joining the CERT team, access to disaster readiness plans, and more. This is an easy but important passive program that almost any branch can do. Next slide, please. This slide summarizes the 4 steps to success process for delivering programs in collaboration with San Diego County Fire CERT. Following these steps allows you to meet the needs of a community and gives you the training expertise to offer these programs at the library. Through this type of partnership, emergency responders get to know the local hazards and emergency readiness needs, and we solidify important contacts with them pre-emergency. Here are some tips and best practices for offering emergency preparedness programs that I've learned over the last few years. First, don't be shy about inquiring about partnering with emergency responders or support organizations like CERT or Red Cross. Reach out to your local fire department and let them guide you if you're not sure where to start. Make sure to align programs with the local needs and potential emergencies in your community. Take time to learn about what are the biggest risks in your specific community. You may be surprised. Try to engage veterans, non-English speaking communities, and older adults who are often valuable resources for these types of programs. Find ways to supply residents with emergency preparedness plans and items such as fire blankets, smoke alarms, and fire extinguishers when you do your programs. There may be nonprofits or county departments that you can partner with, like our branch did, to assist with the cost of distribution. Finally, realize that you are making an important long-term commitment and building a strong foundation for your community. So consistency and willingness to try different ways to engage is part of the process. Again, don't worry if this topic is new to you. Your efforts may save lives or make people's lives safer during an emergency. Now, to bring this discussion full circle, we'll next hear from Nick. Nick will discuss broader emergency planning efforts and how libraries can align with county-wide preparation initiatives.
Right. Hello, everyone. We can go to the next slide, please. All right. So let's first talk about the how we started to organize and plan these trainings. So we, San Diego County, we put out a comprehensive disaster preparedness guide in 2019, and it was a logical way to use this as the baseline for our trainings. We knew it was important to have someone go in depth with how each piece of the guide could be implemented into your preparedness plan. We also knew it would be important to have the attendees in the training begin to put pen to paper rather than just reading the guide and setting it aside once they got it. So we asked them to fill it out, each section that needed to be filled out, wrap their heads around their preparedness plan, and think about who needs to be involved with that plan. We also brainstormed on which stakeholders would be best to get this information out to the communities in the most efficient way. We had discussions with city emergency managers, the county libraries, local CERT teams, and passionate community members. We created a subcommittee to plan how we would move forward and implement these trainings. So some key considerations for selecting the training topics and materials. So as I mentioned earlier, we knew our new preparedness plan would be a great base for the knowledge to be presented. That said, we knew we needed to get people to take action with that plan and what that plan was asking of the people to do when it came to emergency preparedness. So subjects such as having an extra battery for your electrical medical device, having at least 3 days of your prescriptions ready to go in case of emergency and evacuation. Do you have extra eyeglasses if you wear eyeglasses to take with you? And people who could help you load up your large animals if you have large animals and you can't load them up yourselves. And there's other topics we cover as well. But a lot of these important but less talked about scenarios and preparedness steps are often missed when creating a plan. Some of the logistics as far as scheduling, promoting, and actually managing these trainings, we used our subcommittees to set up a schedule for our Train the Trainer course, which trained people to provide the preparedness plan training to their communities. We created a flyer with a sign up for the dates and sent it out to our contacts, as well as put all the dates on our county's Engage website. This is a website dedicated to public engagement. This yielded about 70 Train the Trainers in 4 different trainings that we offered in 2022. We also created a tracking mechanism to allow the trainers to keep us up to date on how many community members they have trained. And this was done using a Microsoft form. And so we would provide a link to all the trainers. And then upon completion of a training, they would actually log into that Microsoft form, fill out some very basic information, and it would help us track how many people they trained, what languages the training was given in, and the location of the training. Next slide, please. So you heard I mentioned that our disaster preparedness plan earlier. And so here on your screen, you see that first one off to the left there. This plan was developed by the County of San Diego's Office of Emergency Services to help the county's residents, their loved ones, and neighbors better prepare for, respond to, and recover from an emergency or disaster. This plan is available in 12 languages. It covers areas such as emergency contacts, drawing out an evacuation plan from your home, info about different evacuations, understanding hazards specific to the County of San Diego, and how to build an emergency kit. Now, the second disaster plan you see there in the middle of the slide, this is what we call the personal disaster plan for people who may need assistance. So this is also known as our access and functional needs disaster preparedness plan. This was developed in partnership with the county's Department of Aging and Independent Services to help the whole community, including older adults, people with disabilities, and anyone with access or functional needs, better prepare for emergencies or disasters. This plan is also available in 12 languages, and it covers all areas from the original plan, but it takes into account those who may need more assistance and have more difficulty during evacuations. So some of the examples, as I mentioned earlier, so those with access and functional needs or disabilities, large animals, non or low English proficiency, and there's some other areas that we consider here. Now you see on the upper right-hand corner of your slide there, this is known as Alert San Diego. The emergency notification system can make phone calls, send text messages, and emails to people and businesses in San Diego County when there's an emergency or disaster happening or about to happen. It's used by emergency workers to tell people what's going on and what they should do, like should they evacuate their homes? Do they need to stay inside or even watch out for some gas leaks? And we even message out for missing person reports. The system can call both listed and unlisted landline phones using the 911 phone list from local phone companies, but it can also send alerts to your cell phone, internet phone, and email, but only if registered. So you don't have to sign up if you have regular landline phone. We already have those phone numbers through the reverse 911 system. Now let's shift our focus to the key partners who make these initiatives possible, the communities we aim to serve, and the measurable outcomes of our efforts. Teresa will share how partnerships and audience engagement drive meaningful emergency preparedness outcomes.
Next slide, please. Thank you, Nick. This list of key partners is not complete by any means. It is simply meant to give you ideas of who you can partner with to get your emergency preparedness resource program started. Each of these partner agencies continues to conduct free emergency preparedness training in partnership with our county branch libraries and San Diego County Fire CERT. Our partner agencies have conducted or collaborated on a variety of emergency preparedness trainings. The topics range from life-saving courses to disasters such as earthquakes and steps residents can take to harden their home from wildfires. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk about understanding our audience. In order to understand community needs, we first identify key local risk and concerns specific to each community. What are the demographics of your community? What disasters should they be preparing for? How can you bring in subject matter experts to meet those needs? Local first responders, your county's or city's Office of Emergency Services, CERT, and Red Cross can help you identify your community's needs along with your own research. Next, we want to talk about gathering input. San Diego County Fire CERT uses surveys and feedback methods to gather input from residents attending all our training. Responses aid in identifying local risk and community needs. Our library staff also provide valuable insight into their community demographics. They know who their patrons are, old or young, and what other languages are spoken in their community. A simple way for you to start is to set up an emergency preparedness information table, which follows FEMA's annual preparedness calendar. Be sure to add a suggestion box and include a survey question, such as what types of emergency preparedness training would you like to see offered at your library? Or have a 30-minute coffee and chat get together and ask patrons for input. Even I would show up for that. San Diego County Fire CERT also uses the responses on the surveys to tailor future training specific to our individual communities. We suggest you start by selecting training topics to address your community's hazards and risks. Ask your partner agencies if they have staff or volunteers who are fluent in other languages to ensure language accessibility. Vary the subjects over the years so you are not offering the same topic every year, and offer time-sensitive training topics. For example, is it fire season, or are you moving into the winter months, which brings snow and flooding? Tailoring the training content once you find the hazards and community needs by gathering input is easier than you think. We believe you can do it. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk about our impact and outcomes. Our emergency preparedness programs reach residents from diverse ethnic backgrounds with community demographics similar to the area we serve. Ensuring inclusivity for all communities remains a priority for our CERT program, while continuing to tailor content to meet the needs of all age groups. Since June 2019, San Diego County Fire CERT volunteers have conducted 68 training sessions at our county branch libraries in American Sign Language, Arabic, English, Mandarin, and Spanish, with 1,614 patrons attending. In the advanced public information officer training, we learned that people need to hear the message 6 to 7 times before they will make the change we are asking them to do. Keeping that in mind, you are not doing this alone. We are asking that you become one of the partners so we can work together to reach residents in their language, at their level of readiness, and at your libraries. San Diego County Fire CERT shares their engagement data collected from our CERT customer experience survey with our partner agencies who have presented or hosted our training sessions. Yes, that includes our library partners. Participant feedback is golden. It's great for your department leadership, city or county officials, and when applying for grant funding. Next slide, please. And here's just some examples of fun activities that we bring to our training sessions. Pictured on this slide are just a few of the activities we bring at various events. What's hot, what's not? The first one is for younger children to do with their parent or guardian. For our middle school and high school events, we hand out our word search, word scramble, and other age-appropriate handouts. As for our adult population, our emergency preparedness bingo game is a lot of fun, as is the crossword puzzle you see on the slide. With grant funding, San Diego County Fire CERT was able to give emergency preparedness door prizes to residents after they complete the activities or training with the CERT program. It's important to note that we do not hand out the answer keys. Instead, we post them on our County Fire website, which accomplishes two things. First, we drive traffic to the department website, and secondly, residents can learn about the other programs and services San Diego County Fire offers. To close us out, I'll hand it back to Cecilia, who will share how you can continue this work through San Diego County Library's Emergency Preparedness webpage, ways to get involved, and activity resources available to support your community. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Teresa. So now explore SDCL's adult learning resources on emergency preparedness. Our adult learning webpage is your go-to hub for a wide range of resources and training to help individuals and communities prepare for emergencies. Whether you prefer in-person classes, books, ebooks, audiobooks, or online games, we've got everything you need to stay informed and ready. Personal disaster plan, now available in our catalog with all threshold languages to ensure everyone has access. We have tailored content, resources in multiple languages and formats to meet the diverse needs of our community. We have hands-on learning, engaging trainings and workshops designed to empower adults in emergency preparedness, and stay connected with our latest events, resources, and tips to keep your community safe and resilient. So please visit our webpage today and help make San Diego County a more prepared and resilient place. Next slide. Now that we've seen the vital role libraries play in emergency preparedness, let's talk about how you can make an impact in your community. Promote emergency preparedness programs, share flyers and event information with your patrons, and training sessions like CPR, CERT, and fire safety. Libraries are trusted spaces, so keep your community informed. Engage with local partners, collaborate with local organizations like CERT, fire departments, and community groups to enhance emergency preparedness programs and build valuable relationships. Encourage patron participation. Encourage your patrons to attend training sessions and offer follow-up support to ensure they stay informed and engaged. Attend and support training sessions. Get involved by attending training yourself. This not only builds your knowledge, but helps you guide others and support your colleagues. Collect feedback and track impact. After programs, gather feedback to improve future sessions. Tracking participation helps demonstrate the effectiveness of your efforts. By taking these steps, you'll help ensure your library is a key player in fostering emergency preparedness and building resilient communities. Next slide. And now I'll hand it back to Teresa.
Thank you, Cecilia. So we've listed three pages of resources for you. They're excellent resources. We've included the links to their websites for options to get you started. Some of these are informational for adults, one-page handouts on cooking safety, home fire safety, lithium-ion batteries, while others are for youth and include online games, card games, and activity pages that can be downloaded. Next slide, please. My personal go-to resources are the National Fire Prevention Association and Listos California from the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. They both have resources for all age groups. In particular, Listos California has so many amazing resources such as PowerPoints for training and preparedness information ready to download and print. As a bonus, both sites have their materials available in multiple languages. Next slide. And then this is just the last page of additional resources. Some of them I've used, some of them I haven't yet, but I just wanted to share that with you and help you on your journey. And I'll hand it back over to Cecilia.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Next slide. Okay, so as we wrap up today's session, We want to make sure that you have the resources you need to reach out with any further questions or for collaboration opportunities. If you have any follow-up questions or would like to discuss how your library can get involved in emergency preparedness efforts, feel free to contact myself, Cecilia Salgado, Adult Services Manager for the San Diego County Library, along with Kristen McVeigh, Branch Manager at the Borrego Springs Library. For emergency preparedness and response inquiries, you can reach out to Teresa Greenhall, the CERT coordinator with San Diego County Fire, along with Nick Tomlinson, Senior Emergency Services Coordinator with the Office of Emergency Services. We're all here to support you, and we encourage you to get in touch with us for more details, partnerships, or guidance as you strengthen your own community resilience. Thank you for your time today, and we look forward to connecting with you. Next slide. Thank you all for your attention today. Now I'd like to open the floor and hand it over back to Juliana or Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lisa and I are going to co-moderate the Q&A, and we have up to 20 minutes or so to make sure we've addressed everyone's questions and comments. There are a couple options for doing so. We're going to run through everything that's been shared in chat so far. And then if you haven't had a chance to add your question or your comment to chat, you can do so now. I know sometimes people prefer to wait until the end. So there's a lot going on in chat. We're really excited to see that everyone is sharing and collaborating. And a couple more questions or reminders that the slides and the recording will be shared in Call Academy. That's open to all California library staff. And that the recording of this session will be shared with everyone who registered. So I think I'm going to start it off maybe with Crystal's question, who says, and Crystal is from Belvedere Tiburon, and she says, a large segment of our daily population is workforce who commute in and out to provide services locally. Any tips or strategies for engaging this community that doesn't necessarily live locally, but is here daily? The workforce is demographically different than local residents too. So I'll open that up to anyone from San Diego that might have some thoughts for Crystal.
So I'll jump in, and then Kristen, you can add to it as the branch librarian. So recently I've been partnered with another organization, AARP, and we've done virtual training sessions that we're doing during the day, but can be done in the evening. So that's a way to reach those residents because they are there during the day when disasters can hit, right? So they need to be prepared for that. And then try to maybe do training sessions in the evening and not on the weekends when they're there. And if you have a partner agency that maybe can help provide individually wrapped snacks or something, so you're staying within environmental and health safety codes, that might also bring them in because you're going to be tired and hungry after your day's job. Kristen?
Yeah, thanks, Crystal, for the question. I think this is a good example where some type of info table in a lobby can always be helpful so that you're catching everybody coming in and giving them emergency preparedness information. And I think it's important to remember that while we are concerned with our local community, if we supply people who are, at our libraries, but they're going to, live in a different community, that's okay. And we want that because now they're coming into our libraries, but they're going back to their communities more prepared for whether they're, for that transition is fine. So we want to encourage that. The second thing I thought about, I don't know your community exactly, but this is where outreach can really have a big impact. So if, for example, your community has like a large office complex where maybe a lot of workers work at that company, it may be something to reach out to and ask if they would like some type of outreach. I'm thinking, I don't know if I've never done this, but I'm thinking of the one we did with the middle school. Like we can kind of say, hey, does your organization feel like they want to learn more about our library, what we offer, but in addition, do it through some type of emergency preparedness program. So I just would get creative. Some of this stuff is a little outside the box, but it's really important just to get the information out there. And usually people are very receptive to these types of ideas.
Very good. Crystal also asked if you guys have any examples of agreements or MOUs libraries have with local agencies. Folks can add their thoughts in the chat on that too, but I'm curious if you guys did anything formal like that as you started out.
That's probably Teresa, I think.
So we have not, because we're sponsored by a county fire department, right? And it's a county library and a county facility. So we have not had a written, right of entry form or any of that kind of stuff because of being sponsored by the county. I know there's various forms out there, and your library that you partner with, they may have, if it's a city library, another one, they may have their own forms. And so bring that up in the conversation, right? To discuss that liability if someone gets injured, that kind of stuff. But bring that up early on in the conversation so that can all get ironed out before you get started.
Very good. And then Teresa, at the end there, you mentioned grants that you guys got to provide some stuff at the programming. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, thank you. So our CERT program, and I've written the grants myself, so yay for me because they're tough to get. But we've been fortunate to receive the Listos California CERT support grant. All 4 years it's been offered to CERT programs. And so that was to support the CERT programs, but the intent of that grant was for CERT programs to do community engagement and prepare residents for any kind of disaster. So with that, we're allowed to buy items that we can give away. So if you're taking the fire extinguisher training class with us at the library, depending on the size of the class, most everybody walks away with a small household fire extinguisher. So we've taught you the skill, and we've been able to provide a tool to support it. But that's come out of Cal OES and the governor's office. We also have huge support from our utility company, where I wanted to offer a CPR class for the deaf and hard of hearing. And I found out I needed specialized training, CPR, AED machines, and they gave me the money to buy the specialized AED trainers for the class that had video, loud audio, and text for them to see. So we've been able to offer classes based on funding from SDG&E, San Diego Gas and Electric, and the governor's office.
I also noticed that there are quite a few resources shared in chat, so I'm just going to point a couple of them out and make sure that folks are noticing these. There is the Ready or Not program, which is focused on cultural heritage for disaster preparedness. They provide free assessments, and then there's another aspect of that program that also helps fund the recommendations, which is key. Those have been shared into chat. I will also, that's a good question that's coming up. Okay, now our questions are rolling in. I'll also share into chat another resource that I want to make sure to highlight. Teresa, you brought up something essential, and I love the tips here. So often we'll see with federal or state grants, the requirement or the ask for community engagement. And I have to just reiterate that the library is a logical and great place to partner to do the community engagement portion of these federal and state grants. So when you're researching your community and understanding the language and access and age and demographics, in addition to talking to people, which is excellent, we have another resource which is available for all California library staff. That's Policy Map, and it has a wealth of demographic data, including climate change data. And Patrice from, actually, I don't know where Patrice is these days, Cal OES, has shared some comments in chat too about some additional data. So this is just another data point that people can, and can access. So I'll put that into chat. And then I'm going to throw, this is a fun one. I'm going to throw this out. Steph, I will actually go with this one, which I can't see the full name, and it just came to the hosts and panelists, so I think we can talk about it. Do you anticipate changes in federal funding to impact your ability to offer these trainings? Anyone want to take that?
I'll take that. And I love that question. So everything that we've designed, our CERT program has been designed to be sustainable. So if you take a class and I've got grant funding and you get that giveaway, great. Woohoo! If I don't, then I have minimal cost to print the handouts. You're still getting the information, you're still getting the training. You just won't get the fire extinguisher or the tourniquet for the stop the bleed training, right? But then there's items that people need for their go bags or their stay at home or in their car that are really inexpensive that you can give as an incentive for attending. Mylar blankets, glow sticks, really inexpensive. So we've designed it to be that way. We do offer CPR AED training for free in the rural communities. It's an equity program for San Diego County Fire CERT, but I use grant funds from the Listos, California to pay for 12 of my CERT volunteers to become certified instructors and bought all the training equipment. So as time goes on, it's only $15 a year to renew the instructor certification, and the CPR certification cards are only $15. And the volunteers, CERT is a volunteer-based organization, so everyone who's teaching other than me is volunteering their time, even in our CPR classes. So it's been designed to be sustainable on a minimal to no budget. That's a great question.
Yeah, it really is important to kind of think about how does this work down the road when, grants end and circumstances change. Leslie asked, how are libraries, maybe branch libraries, coordinating with their county system? Is the main programming driving emergency preparedness, or branches reaching out directly as need arises? Can the library folks from San Diego kind of talk about how that worked where you are?
Sure, I can start. Borrego Springs is a remote rural branch of San Diego County Library. Just to sort of paint a picture, we're about an hour and a half to 2 hours from a major hospital. So people out here get flown out of here during medical emergencies. So we're very remote. And I also live in this community, so I was very aware of the local hazards here and living here. And so when Teresa and CERT reached out and sort of said, hey, we can offer these programs at your library, I just grabbed it and kind of went with it. Since then, we've also had, power shutoffs here and other events that kind of where we've been activated. I think that it's important that if you are a branch manager at a library, you can play a valuable role in getting these programs going. Like, it does need some advocacy at the local level, and you do have to know what these local hazards are, and whether you live in that community or not. So the county library SDCL has been very supportive of all these efforts, but it's a bunch of partnerships, and it's continual kind of advocacy. And so I just wanted to kind of point that out. And so because I live here and I also, in a sense, benefit from this emergency preparedness, I have a sort of personal motivation as well. I don't know if Cecilia wants to add anything.
Sure. So what I'm seeing from the question is, as a system wide, right? Since we have 33 library branches, how do our partners get in contact with so many diverse, especially different needs? So for example, Teresa was interested in hosting, delivering these presentations. So my job as an adult services manager is connecting Teresa with those branch contacts and working with those branch managers or adult services coordinators to lead and host these programs, and what is needed from them on the end of creating the flyer, promoting the items. So us working all together, I believe communication is really key to making these presentations a success. Teresa, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, Cecilia, I think I got it. The one thing is that I do want to add that you guys have been super helpful for is when I first started back in 2019, the library system was I had to wait till everyone else booked a room in that 3-month window. And that's where the support of Cecilia and the leadership at the libraries was, okay, when Teresa emails you now, she may be asking you to book a room in October. Help her book that room in October because our calendar is filling up fast. We're going to complete 53 community emergency preparedness trainings just this fiscal year. And so that was a huge support that we didn't have at the very beginning. But as our program has developed, that's been super helpful for us to get that support and say, okay, this is what's open and we'll work with it and we'll get it booked for you.
Yes, and to add to that, Teresa, is the huge part is to make sure that the primary contact is welcomed and supported, and where it's not their program, it's our program. So really branch, own it, and deliver it. That hosting part of it is a huge part of that success.
That is the most beautiful place to tie it all together and start to wrap up. I think what I really loved about everything that was mentioned here and just the meetings that we've had with Teresa is you can really see that it is all about relationships and partnership. So it's not an outside agency coming in and saying, can we use your space and not interact with you? It's not the library putting on something on their own because we're not the experts in everything. It's people coming together to meet the needs of the specific community and do that long-term thinking. So I just really appreciate all of our panelists and everyone who's joined us today. I think there's been a lot of evidence that people want to continue sharing on this topic. I appreciate Patrice's comment here at the State Library. We're definitely looking at continuing the conversation and sharing resources. The examples that San Diego County has shared today have been specific and really helpful. And I think with that, unless there's any burning questions or comments, we will probably close out today's webinar with one more huge thank you. So please do remember to share your thanks for the panelists in chat. And I am just going to share huge thanks to everyone here at the State Library and most of all, everyone at County of San Diego for agreeing to do this presentation for you all here. And please do reach out if you need anything. We're so happy that you joined us today.